Hey everyone, what I've got here is the Dell Precision 7540. This is a powerful laptop. It's a workstation laptop, so it weighs about 2.5 kilograms. About the same weight as a top of the range gaming laptop. It's a 15.6 inch screen, full HD. I was hoping to get a 4K screen, I couldn't get one. But this has a Xenon, if I get it right, the Xenon E-2286M, which is an 8-core CPU, which just beats all the 8-core i9s and laptops in the market. So this, is a really powerful laptop. It will beat all the i9 laptops in the market. It's a Xenon, it's very powerful, but it also has an RTX 3000 Quadro card. The Quadro RTX 3000 is the equivalent of a 2060. So whilst this was kind of designed for CAD, Premiere Pro, video editing, that type of thing, this would be a very good gaming solution as well. It's not designed for that, but yeah, it could be used for that as well. So I will say right off the bat that this is a fantastic laptop. It is, and I really do love it, but I need to return it. And it's annoying that I need to return it, but there's a major problem with this and this particular unit anyway, and I can't fix it, and it means that I can't get the most out of this system. So unfortunately, I can't do a full review. I can't spend a lot of time, testing this for weeks, doing a lot of, CPU tests and all those kind of things. But I can give you my first impressions of this laptop in this video. And that's what I wanted to do. I want to explain what I like about this, just give you my initial thoughts about this. I do actually like this, as I've said a few times. I do really like this laptop, but I need to return it. So most reviews, what they'll do is they'll talk about what they like, and then at the end they'll maybe say a few things that they don't like. I'm going to do it back to front, and I'm going to explain why I'm returning this. So if you want to see the internals of this and see what this looks like inside, check out my unboxing live stream. I thought that live stream was going to be like 30 minutes or an hour. Turned out to be about 3 hours. And if you watch that live stream, you've probably got an idea as to what is wrong here. Underneath here, there are two memory modules. There's 3 SSD slots, NVMe, so 3 M2 SSDs. You've got the memory, you've got the battery down the bottom as well. So you've got the battery, you've got 3 SSDs, and you've got 2 memory modules. This actually has 4 SODIMM slots though, so there's another 2 memory modules at the back. Now, during the live stream, you guys probably saw one of the major issues, and it's the fact that they're using a lot of these smaller M2 screws, which, that's not new. You see them in laptops, you see them in motherboards and PCs and all that. It's not a major problem. I've got all the little screwdrivers for it. I've got lots of these kind of around so that I can open it up. The problem that I had was that a lot of these screws were tightened to the point where they couldn't be moved. Now, that sounds like a tiny issue. It doesn't sound like that's a major issue. It doesn't sound like something that would force you to return a laptop, but it is actually a major issue because the hard drives and the memory are, in addition to the battery, are the main parts that are serviceable, the main parts that you want to replace or upgrade. Now, I looked at the 3 SSDs. One of them, I managed to get out. I put some tape down and I managed to get out the screw, and then I used another screw that I had and put in the M2 screw that I had. The other one, I was not able to get out, and it stripped the screw because basically it just wouldn't move. And it didn't matter what screwdriver I moved. I was very careful at first, but these screws are absolutely tiny and I couldn't do anything. Now, during the live stream, you probably saw as well, I was trying to install this Samsung 970 EVO Plus. It didn't boot up with this. But what I did was I copied these files to my Samsung T5 drive. I formatted it and it worked fine. So the SSD did work fine. I couldn't boot with the memory that I've got, right? Despite the fact that it was the same speed as the installed module. So this only comes with 8 gigabytes, which sounds bad, but it's actually good because if I was buying 32 gigabytes of RAM, a laptop with 32 gigabytes, I'd be taking them out anyway to add a minimum of 64. So those modules would probably get sold. So it made more sense to buy one that I could upgrade. Now I installed that memory and it wouldn't post up. And the reason being that the 8 gigabyte RAM module, which is underneath the keyboard, that module has probably got different latency. Well, that's my guess, and it's what Chris and a few others watching the live stream suspected. Now, as I said, one of the things I like about this is because it's a powerhouse. It's got 4 RAM slots. You can actually put up to 128 gigabytes of RAM, which sounds overkill, but in video editing, if you step up to 4K, you might actually use that. So I couldn't use this RAM, but I started to look at whether I could use this by inputting these modules into the front slots, i.e. the ones which are underneath the keyboard. So I wanted to test whether these modules could be installed underneath the keyboard. The problem is the actual process of getting to the front of the keyboard. It's not ideal, but it's not that difficult either. You just unclip the ribbons. Once you've got the ribbons out, you can take away this keyboard lattice, as they call it. You pop it out, and then there's like 6 M2 screws. And that's where I took a step back. The problem is this keyboard is attached to the front of the PC here. And you need to take out that keyboard, the full keyboard, if you want to get to those other memory slots, if you want to get to the memory slot where that single 8GB module is, and I have to take that out for any other RAM to work. The problem is the 6 M2 slots keeping that keyboard down, and I took out my screwdriver, tried to move it a little bit. One screw started to turn, tried the next one, wouldn't move, tried the next one, that started to come out, tried the next one, wouldn't move. So what I had was a selection of M2 screws keeping this keyboard down, and they would not budge. Now, I spoke to Dell about this, and they explained that eventually, after speaking to some foreign, international call centers, I spoke to someone locally, and they explained that sometimes the machine will tighten the screws just a little bit too tight. The problem is with that is that there is absolutely no way to remove those screws. Now, I did actually buy a screw extractor kit. The problem is these kind of things only work with larger screws, not with the smaller M2 screws that Dell use. So I was in a position where I couldn't remove the keyboard, which means that I can't remove the memory modules, I can't change it, which means I can't even put memory in the back, which means that this powerful workstation, which has a Quadro RTX 3000, which has a beast of an 8-core Xeon CPU, which is fantastic for video editing. The way it stands just now, I can only have 8GB of RAM. Now, Dell, eventually when I got to the right person, it's not a pleasant experience going through their forms and their call centers, but I eventually got to the right person, and they did offer to take this back. It takes about a week or so, and what they will do is remove all the screws and put it back together and all that. But I'm leaning towards just sending it back because, well, quite frankly, I've been frustrated with trying to deal with this. Now, as far as I'm concerned, a workstation, when you buy a workstation, you buy it to change the parts. You buy it so that it's easily upgradable. It's not like a Surface Pro where you buy it and you're fixed with the RAM and the SSD that it comes with. With this, you're going to be changing the RAM, the memory modules. You're going to be changing the NVMe, the SSDs. You're going to be changing it at least once, perhaps even twice over the course of 3 or 4 years. So I wasn't really encouraged by the fact that that the keyboard is being attached with screws that are so sensitive, are so tightly stuck to the main, I was going to say the main motherboard, but the main frame of the chassis there. So that is why I'm returning it. This is a beast of a CPU. It's a beast of a graphics card. It's quite a heavy laptop, but it doesn't bother me because I'll be using this around the house or just, taking it to my girlfriend's house in a bag. So the actual weight isn't a problem. So that's the bad stuff out of the way. I still love this laptop. And I did think about perhaps just waiting for it to come back and then, maybe it'll be fixed and then maybe I'll use it again. But I've decided to go back to the drawing board. Maybe I'll buy an XPS 15 because it's got a 4K touchscreen. With a laptop like that, you're going to run into throttling issues and all that, which is why I was going towards a workstation. But I've decided to go back and send it back. So that's all the bad stuff out of the way, guys. What I'd like to do at this point is jump over to my overhead camera and I will show you the laptop itself. And this is the laptop. This is, you can see the Dell logo there. And if you look at it here, this is a little bit of a finger magnet, the actual design here. Scroll down. this is a little bit of a finger magnet, but I think the actual style of this laptop is gorgeous. I think this looks amazing. It's a really nice looking laptop. The actual power supply that comes with it, it's a good length. It's not short. It's 180 watts, so you're not going to power this with a USB Type-C charger unless you're not really doing much. And that's something I found out with my HP laptop as well, that if you can power this with power delivery, 85 watts, 70 watts, that type of thing, and it will charge, as long as you're not doing anything intensive. Because when you use the graphics card, when you're using the CPU and you're throttling it and using it 100%, that's when the wattage usage will go up. But if you're not using that, you know, you won't need the 180 watt adapter. You could use Type-C, I believe. As far as the design goes, it's not thin. You know, this is a big laptop. It really is a big laptop. It's a big, thick thing. But I quite like the design. I like it's got the RJ45 Ethernet connection port at the back here, and I will zoom in because I promised I would. You've got the fans at the back here. As far as noise goes, gets a little bit loud, but compared to my HP ZBook G3, it's super quiet. It's not a quiet laptop though. It's certainly not a quiet laptop, but for a laptop of this size, it's not too bad. The fans did kick in a few times, but it was okay. But you've got the RJ45 here, you've got a mini display port, and you've got an HDMI port, and then you've got the power cable. And the power cable is this big thick thing here, which goes in at the back here, like so. And yeah, I like the power supply. I do like the power supply. So this size, you've got this side, you've got the headphone jack, you've got two USB, I believe 3.1 Gen 1. You've got a Kensington lock, and then at the other side, you've got two Thunderbolt 3 ports. You've got an SD card slot which sits flush, and then you've got a smart card reader. Inside, there's also a wireless LAN card, but there's one for a wireless WWAN card as well. The Thunderbolt 3 ports here, when I attached my Thunderbolt 3 hub downstairs, or a USB Type-C hub, it registered right away. It registered the hub right away. But for whatever reason, the cable for my Samsung T5, I don't know, it connects via the USB Type-3, the USB Type-A port, but via Type-C, it wasn't being registered, just as if it wasn't there. I'm not sure why that was happening, because it was fine with the USB Type-C Thunderbolt port. Not sure. I'm assuming it's a software issue. Okay, let's talk about this. Now, the screen is a fairly basic Full HD display. You've got the webcam at the top. As far as the display goes, nothing to shout home about, but for me, you know, it's fine. It's just a basic kind of IPS screen, nothing fancy there. The webcam though, and you know, as I said, I don't have time to do a full review here, but what I will say about the webcam is that it's absolutely terrible. Terrible, absolutely disgracefully terrible. Now, I do like this little slot here, but this is a 720p webcam. It's 0.9 megapixels. And I realise that's kind of par for the course. Most laptops have a terrible webcam. It's not something that my Surface Pro struggles with. This has got like 5 and 8 megapixel webcams, and it's so good having those, because if you're doing a Skype call or you're doing anything like that, it's great to have a good microphone webcam. But the webcam here, it's very basic. It's pretty bad. So you wouldn't use it unless you're in a very well lit room and it's just for a quick video call, but for anything else, it's kind of pointless. I do like the fact that the screen goes all the way down though. It's pretty flexible, goes all the way past 180 degrees there, just slightly past it. Yeah, and it's pretty good. Now, I'll focus on this part here. Now, I would say that the overall build quality of the 7540 is good. I do think that. There's a little flex in the keyboard here. There is flex, and you can maybe see that a little bit there. There's flex in the keyboard, and when you're typing, it does feel, yeah, it does feel kind of light. It just kind of springy sometimes, a little bit springy more than it should be. But the overall build quality, I would say, is pretty good. You know, disregard the issue with the screws inside. Disregard that, which is a real pain, because I don't see any reason why something even needs to have M2 screws below this keyboard, because it's all hidden anyway. Why not just use good screws rather than those tiny ones that strip really easily? But the actual build quality is good. You can see that, you know, this isn't going to get pushed over easy. It's good. This part is all solid. The fingerprint reader, I tried setting up a thumbprint. It was taking a long time to register the thumb. Now, I'm not sure if that was just the way that I was rolling it over. It took a long time and I couldn't actually get it fully registered. So I'm not sure if anyone else experienced that or if it was just me, but I was trying to register my thumb. Tried it a long time and it just wasn't registering everything. I suspect it's okay. I just haven't spent enough time doing it properly. I don't know. The touchpad I thought was good. Now, I will say though, I normally just use a mouse. Whenever I use a laptop, this is a backup for when my batteries run out. I really don't use it that much. There's 3 buttons there, and there's 3 buttons there, and you've got the thumbstick as well, and there's software for that. I would say that the touchpad is good. Everyone will ask whether this compares well to a MacBook Pro or even an XPS 15 or something. I don't know. To me, it felt really good. To me, it felt like a really good touchpad, but I'm someone that uses a mouse all the time, so I'm not really going to notice anything different about this. I'm really not. So I think that build quality wise, it's good. Touchpad is good. Nice power button at the corner, which I'll show you in a second. The keyboard is kind of flimsy, just the way that it's kind of, you can see there's a little bit of flex there. It's maybe more apparent if I, kind of bring it up at an angle. It's kind of, yeah, it's just not as solid as you would like. It really isn't as solid as you would like, but it's not too bad. I do like it. I do like the keyboard. It's backlit. It's a nice keyboard. You've got the caps lock, num lock there. And you can see under the num lock, you've actually got a full-size number pad here on a 15-inch laptop. Now, to me, that's amazing because there's lots of times I need to put in numbers, and normally you're going up here. And having that there is very, very useful. The downside to that, whilst that's amazing, the downside to that is that the keyboard's kind of cramped into this space instead of that space. I did notice that initially. When I was typing, I did notice that being a little bit cramped when compared to my HP ZBook, which is roughly the same size as this. I did notice that it is a little bit smaller. It is a little bit cramped. But I think it's something I would have got used to. It wasn't terrible. It's a nice keyboard. You can see that I've just typed in Kevin Modine is the greatest there. Yeah, you can see that I can type in it. Nice keys, chiclet style keys. It's not, you kind of got a small return button there and things like that. But personally, if I got used to that, I think it's a worthwhile sacrifice in order to get the number pad there and get a full-size keyboard. That's me personally, but I've not spent weeks writing on this. So again, this is first impressions. So yeah, overall build quality is really good. I like the design here. It does catch fingerprints, but overall it's nice. It weighs about 2.5 kilograms, but I would say the overall build quality is good. It's just a pity that inside you've got all those problems with the screws being too tight. So I'll maybe zoom out a little bit. I'll load this up. Power button's really nice there as well. And overall, yeah, I think it's quite nice. It does load quite quickly as well. I thought it was quite quick loading. I never had any problems with how quickly it was loading. Obviously I wasn't able to boot with the faster memory. So right now when it's booting up, I'm relying on the 8GB module. And I'll quickly log in. And that's it loaded up. So I'll try and get this down, and I'll zoom down. Obviously I'm showing the screen here from the overhead camera. Now I have installed sorry, it's not touchscreen. I'm used to using the Surface Pro today. That was a bad mistake. So I've got a lot of my applications installed here. I've got like Chrome and Premiere Pro and different things. I spent a couple of hours installing all my kind of video editing programs. I've got Video Proc, Handbrake, etc. There's a lot of other Dell things here which I've kind of removed from the start menu. You've got the Precision Optimizer, you've got the Power Manager and different things. And these are, I mean, I've seen some people saying that Dell software is quite overkill, it's quite bloated. I didn't feel that myself. I thought it was okay. I really did think it was okay. Now, I'm not going to do any benchmarks, but if I look over here, you can see the CPU, Xenon E-2286M, E-2286M CPU at 2.4 GHz, 8 threads. The CPU has hardly even been it's hardly even been tested. It really isn't. And I found that myself, even when I was using Chrome and I had a lot of things open, nothing was really being pushed. It's the same with the graphics card. The Quadro RTX 3000, it is the equivalent of a 2060, roughly. But it does handle certain applications, apparently, you know, video editing applications and different things. Apparently, it does handle those a little bit better than a 2060 does. So when it comes to work applications, video editing, CAD, that type of thing, the RTX 3000 might actually be better than the 2060. Of course, maybe, I've not tested this, but maybe in certain games, a 2060 would be better. I don't know. But equivalent-wise, CUDA cores-wise, performance-wise, this is basically 2060, just below a 2070. Laptop version, of course, not a full-size one. So, yes, I could have had 128 gigabytes of RAM here. Not something that I can do. The Intel graphics is powering the screen, of course. But yeah, overall, you know, I spent a full day installing applications, browsing around. As I was saying there, the touchpad is just, it's really, really nice to use. And again, it's coming from someone that doesn't, you know, it doesn't really use the touchpad a lot, but the button's really nice. Device manager in there as well. This particular one comes with a 256 gigabyte Toshiba drive, which apparently has read and write speeds over 3000, but I've not benchmarked it myself. But yeah, I've tested everything. And I must say, as far as the actual laptop goes, as far as using it goes, you know, at this point, the only thing that's concerning me is the fact that there's only 8 gigabytes of RAM in this. I needed more memory. Minimum 32, which I couldn't install. If I installed this and this worked, I would have had 40 gigabytes. That probably would have helped me in the short run. But 8 gigabytes is just not enough for what I need for a machine like this. And I would have put 64 or 128 gigabytes in. But what I would say is that overall, I do like this laptop. And it's annoying that I need to return this back. It really is annoying that I need to return this because this ticks so many boxes for me. This CPU is a beast. I don't mind the additional weight of this laptop. The XPS 15, for example, there is an 8-core i9 that is available for the XPS 15, and that laptop is only 1.8 kilograms. It is one that I'm still looking at. The difference is that even though head-to-head, this CPU is only slightly ahead, like 5-10% ahead of that CPU, the difference is this one is being housed in a larger laptop with a chassis that can handle, you know, a higher watts. It's got better thermals. The chassis isn't small to the point where it's throttling the CPU. And yeah, overall, I do like it. So I hope you've enjoyed this overview, first impressions. It's not a review. It is clearly not a review. I've not spent a huge amount of time with this. I've only spent a day or so with it. I've not spent weeks benchmarking it, typing on it every day. Apart from this not having a 4K screen, this ticked every box. Everything I was looking for, this laptop had, as far as having a competent GPU, as far as having 8 cores for video encoding. And it's got a healthy array of ports as well. I would have liked maybe one extra USB type A port, but apart from that, yeah, absolutely no problems. And this came certified refurbished. I paid about £1,750 for this, and I can't argue with the way that Dell has delivered this. And that's one thing I'll say about this. I've never bought from Dell before. Their online chat is terrible. The people that answer that, they're borderline completely useless. And anytime you actually try to get an answer, they just say phone, and when you phone, it's different departments passing you around, say go to this department, go to this department. They don't actually transfer the call and tell the next person, so you need to go through the whole thing again. But apart from that, it came well packaged. This is certified refurbished. You can buy ones that are scratched and dented, but this one was certified refurbished, and it was mint condition. But the issue of the M2 screws being in too tight means that because this has got only one 8GB module and they've not put it in the back, they've put it underneath the keyboard, it means that I can't upgrade this the way that this is just now. Had they put that 8GB module in the back of the PC, I could have took it out and I could have maybe just lived with 64 gigabytes. I could have lived with that, because this CPU, if you build this in a Lenovo, and again, as a reminder, I paid £1,750 for this, and yes, it's refurbished, but as far as I'm concerned, it kind of arrived mint condition. But if you buy, for example, a Lenovo P53 and you want that CPU, you are paying about $3,000. And this CPU can't actually be bought locally on, at least on the website, on the Dell website anyway. So this is a fantastic CPU. It's got a great graphics card. But because I can't upgrade, it needs to go back. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I apologize that I can't do a complete repair and upgrade kind of thing. My time is limited with this because I need to package up and send it back. And I apologize I can't do a full review. If you're looking to buy this, just be aware that the M2 screws can be shipped very easily. They are put in very tight. If you check the Notebook forum and a few other forums out there where people are discussing this, you will see a lot of people talking about this. It does seem to be a common thread, a common discussion point with Dells in general, that a lot of their screws are tiny. I don't understand why. I realise why screws in something like a Surface Pro have to be tiny. I do understand that. This is thin, this is light. That's the market for something like this. It has to be thin, it has to be light. And that's where they're using small components, because you buy this, it's just like a phone. It can't be upgraded. With a workstation, it has to be upgradable. And I don't understand why they've used such terrible screws. The M2 screws are terrible. There's no way around it. They're tiny, but there's no reason for them to be that small. Certainly at the keyboard, there's no reason for them not to just use full-size M2 screws. They've used these kind of tiny ones. And the problem is that if you can't get them out, you are absolutely screwed. It needs to go back. And I don't want to go down this road with Dell. They did offer to take it back, but I don't want to go down this road with a brand new laptop where I send it away for a week, it comes back. I send it away for a week. I can't have that. I want a laptop that works from day one, which is why I'm sending it back. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do check out my live stream if you want to see more of the internals of this. It's a long video. Just skip ahead to skip through a lot of the, the chat that we did in the live stream. But if you want to see the internals of that, please do check out that live stream. Thanks for watching. Thanks again to everyone who tuned into the live stream and gave me advice about this. I do like this laptop. It's a shame that I need to send it back, but I don't think, with the money I'm spending, that I should have to deal with something like that. So thanks for watching. Please do leave a comment below if you've got any questions about this. And from me and the Precision 7540, I will say farewell.